You should watch this movie, Shawnee.
But why, Nathy?
Are you asking me why should I watch? You are listening to Why Should I Watch, the podcast about movies and ideas. Hello, Sean. How are you?
Hello, Nathan. Very frustrated.
Okay.
It's been a long time coming. You and me have seen The Last Jedi, of course. One of the most controversial movies of the year. Twice now.
Yes.
And we're here to talk about it for our last pod of the year.
Very much
before we
so.
enter 2018. I haven't really thought of a good structure for this pod. I just kind of want to complain about it.
I'm happy with that.
And let's rewrite the movie as well, I think. I'm going to just start off by saying spoilers. Obviously, people have probably seen it by now if you're watching this, but spoilers. Right off the bat, Leia flying through space.
Oh, wow. Oh, you just jumped straight into it. Okay.
Hated it.
You didn't want to catch up.
Let me
tell
you something. let me tell you something, Nathan. I hate blue balls, and I hate I hate being blue balled by a studio. I think it's very disrespectful that Disney and Kathleen Kennedy decided to. They knew she was dead. When the movie came out, it happened.
Carrie Fisher,
yes, rest in peace. Right. So you have this scene where Kylo Ren. I rewatched
you really
it,
are just jumping straight into this.
And Kylo Ren says on my lead, which means whatever move he does, that the two TIE fighters are going to follow. So he hesitates in shooting the bridge where Carrie is.
Yes.
But the two TIE fighters shoot anyway.
Yes.
Meaning that they weren't on his lead, and that they did that by themselves. So we see poor little Carrie Fisher's body get flung out into space, and she becomes alive again, or she regains consciousness or something, and she floats in to a door, and some fog happens, and then she's back on the ship. Look, I think that's a disgusting move by Kathleen Kennedy and Disney, and I'm really upset about it. I watched it the second time thinking I could survive it.
Yeah.
But it still annoyed me because it's just the whole audience is ready for it to go because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, and they even said in an interview that they're going to give her a good, finish, a respectable way out.
Yeah, but she survived the movie, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the whole audience is ready, but then you get this awkward Superman moment of her flying in.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Everyone was ready for her to go. That's emotionally, people were like, okay, this is it for Leia. And then you have her fly in through space and then continue the movie in bed.
Yeah.
Why, Nathan? Why do you think they... Why?
Look,
why?
okay. Are you done your initial rant, or do you want to just go
I'm just getting started. You talk for a
Look,
bit.
okay, so we've now seen Star Wars twice. Originally, we saw it together.
Yes.
On the first weekend that it was open.
Yes.
Anticipation was high. It was definitely the most highly anticipated movie of the year.
Agreed, definitely. Especially for us. We're good Star Wars fans.
And we've future reviewed it twice now, so you can go back and listen to those episodes. I think it's episode 15 and
we got it very wrong.
33. You can listen back and hear our expectations and thoughts of what we thought was going to happen. We were pretty much wrong on all counts of what was going to happen. Most of what we thought. Although Kylo going to the lights kind of happened a little bit, but then he didn't.
We'll get into that.
What I was going to say is I think I just watched it a second time last night, so I'm fresh, just seen it again. And I think one of the main things, it's so hard to put into words, but I think what it is Rian Johnson went in, because he was basically given free reign to do what he wanted on this one.
Yep.
And he just thought, I'm going to take all the expectations everyone had of Star Wars and just flip them on their head.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to take this franchise in a whole new direction.
And half of the new characters introduced in The Force Awakens, their stories have stopped.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So he's cut characters' arcs out.
Yeah.
And which is a little bit concerning because I had a lot of, and you yourself, we had a lot of excitement and anticipation for Rian Johnson.
Yes.
Because we've followed his work from Looper and a couple of Breaking Bad episodes. So we're looking forward to it. And I think there was just too much. It just felt like he was chopping away all the fat.
Yeah.
And trying to create his own twist on the characters' paths that J.J. Abrams had done.
Yeah.
because it was sort of all over the place. And you said about Kylo, he wants to stop it all, good and the bad. But then he goes back to being bad. But he's also trying to help Rey. And then he wants to be the commander. But he's just said like,
well, he was the commander, and then there's a few things I noticed. There's so much to talk about.
I'm sweating.
Yeah. Besides the fact that it's a hot day, it's just
True.
it's a movie that makes you
hot
sweat.
Australian day here.
We'll start with I think the most important thing is obviously Rey is the main character in this, but they really did focus on Luke Skywalker as well. And this movie was kind of, as much as the Force Awakens was like Han Solo's movie and then he dies at the end, this was Luke Skywalker's movie and then he dies at the end.
Yeah.
Or does he? And that's the thing. And what I noticed the second time viewing it, it actually made me. I realized I was trying to like express the emotions that the movie makes you feel, because I actually enjoyed it the first time. I thought it was a pretty decent Star Wars. Whereas so many fanboys of like Mutiny, there's like
we've had a couple of friends who have returned Star Wars merchandise.
Yes, and there's a petition to make it not canon. That's how furious some people are. And Mark Hamill himself said he didn't particularly like the story. He said he disagreed with every aspect of Luke's character in this movie.
Yeah,
but he's since gone back and said that Rian Johnson made a great movie.
That.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Was a conspiracy that Disney's
probably
paying
got paid.
Him. Yeah. Here we go.
Look, I think it's just a big spit in the face to fans. I mean, I'm okay with Luke passing on like that. I just wish it was a bit. It just felt a bit. Okay, let me break this down. This felt like the third movie.
Yes, I agree with that.
Because you got the big climax between Luke and Kylo, even though it was a fake Luke, but you've got the climax. And then Luke dies at the end. Yoda comes back and sort of, gives him a little bit more incentive and gives him the answers that he needs. So in some parts it did feel like the end. And with saying that, with Snoke and Phasma's death as well, again, it feels like...
Yeah, this big bad guy was set up.
All the bad guys are gone.
Yeah.
And now we're just left with Hux, who's pretty boring still.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Kylo, who's got some more motivation, but they're still in the same mindset as they were before.
Yeah.
They're still confused, and Kylo's still unbalanced and immature, and really it hasn't resolved anything. It's just cut away characters that people really didn't know a lot about a lot of the minor characters have just been cut out. But then what's going to happen for the 9th one? We're stuck in the exact same spot, but with less characters.
Yeah, well, we'll get on to like what... Well, did you say you wanted to rewrite how Star Wars 8 should go? Because we can get on to what we think Episode 9 will be, which we'll do.
We'll do an episode on that.
But I think, so the big questions that was kind of asked, I think the thing a lot of fans are annoyed about is Rian Johnson sort of just dismissed those. So Snoke was just like this evil bad guy, but he got killed with the flick of a lightsaber.
Very easily, yeah.
Kylo Ren, yeah. And he couldn't even like foresee that Kylo Ren was doing that. Because he says, turn the blade towards, your true enemy. And he flicks it and then kills Snoke.
It. But it's weird because that's such an obvious way. Like, that's such an easy route for them to take to kill off this larger than life.
Well, he's like meant to be the
force.
Emperor.
Yeah, like stronger than the Emperor. Like he's, supposed to be centuries years old.
Yeah,
and
he witnessed all of the originals.
But he doesn't come back to life. Yeah. Like it's not like.
We don't know that. Maybe he will.
But I feel like that's such a cheap thing, like to have it off screen.
Yeah.
If Phasma returns and DJ returns and it's just all off screen.
Yeah.
I'd lose faith in this trilogy.
Yeah. Well, look, I think part of it. I think that the overall theme they were trying to get to in the movie was like getting rid of the past and like getting rid of authority figures. But as I was like watching for the second time, I realized that like the First Order and the Rebels, there was such like this power structure. Like there's such a hierarchy where, like Leia's the general of the Resistance. And then we meet, we've got the Admiral Akbar and all that who ended up dying.
Admiral,
an undignified
what was her
death.
name? Holdo?
Yeah, well, that was Vice Admiral Holdo. And then...
Speaking of characters that had just come and gone, let's talk about Laura Dern. Look, I enjoy
Laura Dern. You've got to stay on track
Dern.
here. Okay.
I enjoy
This is
Laura
going off
Dern.
the rails. Yeah.
And look, her character honestly should have survived and then gone to the next movie. Leia should have sacrificed herself.
Okay.
Skip all the Superman in space silliness. She goes. It's a beautiful moment. We're all connected to that character.
Yep.
We all feel sad. That's it. Holdo becomes the admiral, and now her and Poe, can have their relationship strengthen in the next film.
Yeah.
But then she goes, and it's like, I don't care about Holdo. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's such a sappy moment where it's like, someone's got to stay behind and pilot it, and everyone in the film's getting sad, and it's like, I don't know this chick.
Yeah,
She's
well,
just being really annoying this whole film.
I do agree
and
that
traitorous.
they should have like explored her more. The point was that she was like Leia's second in command, and they were like best friends all through between the original. Oh, Sean's face right now.
They just needed someone to cover Carrie Fisher while she was in bed resting.
Yeah,
that's all. Carrie should have gone. Holdo sucked. She was traitorous.
Yeah, well,
she was a coward.
Well, she kamikazed through the spaceship, which is a scene people are saying is like the best thing. One of the best Star Wars moments.
After heavy persuasion from Poe and Carrie. But look, all I'm going to say is Holdo, useless character. Let's not discuss her again on this pod.
Okay.
Let's move on.
From the pink-haired devil.
Pod, and let's move on to DJ. So DJ is played by, what's his name? El del Toro or something?
Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, whatever his name is. El del Toro, he plays DJ. And they had to find this brilliant mastermind guy who can pick the locks, and so they can get through the shield and get the tracking device. So they go to Canto Bight, the casino planet. Oh, we'll get to that. And they originally find the guy playing, gambling, and then they get thrown in the jail cell for illegally parking, and then they find El Toro in the jail cell.
Yeah.
Great character introduction, acted perfectly. But my biggest gripe is that he didn't have an arc, and he didn't reflect the story that was surrounding that area of where he came from and who he represents. So I'm going to flash back to Rose, most hated character in the Star Wars universe, next to Holdo.
Really?
And
not Jar Jar.
She made a point about how the people who are here make a business from either the good or the bad.
Yes.
Simply selling weapons to either sides and whatnot.
Yeah, capitalism.
Typically bad people. So what you have is DJ, who's you don't see him as one of these people yet, but once they're on the ship,
yes,
he dobs them in.
Yes.
Gets the money, takes the money, and disappears for the rest of the film.
That's true.
So you're just reinforcing that horribleness.
Yeah.
You're not surprising your audience and going, oh, he actually came back and saved the day like they did with Han Solo in episode 4.
Yeah.
Remember he takes the money?
Yeah.
And then he comes back.
Yeah.
So why didn't DJ come back and show a little bit of humanity?
But if he did that,
people would have been like, oh, like not everyone's an asshole in the Star Wars universe.
But wouldn't you have complained that that it was just a rehash for the Han Solo story?
No.
And that's what they've seen that meme where
dead.
I'm going to re-rant back to you now. Yes. The fanboys of Star Wars will never be satisfied. And this is the problem. The fanboys of Star Wars will never be satisfied with a new Star Wars movie because they're holding too much onto the originals. The prequels were ruined in asterisk because they could never live up to the original Star Wars. Because Star Wars fanboys have made those... And there's a scene where Luke talks about, I was a legend, and he basically like rolls his eyes, when he's telling Rey, this idea that Jedi are the holders of the Force, and he's like that is hubris and pride, and that's why the Jedis have to end. And that's kind of what Kylo Ren's saying as well, is we need to get rid of the past. Because if we hold on to the past, these old ideas, the galaxy will never will never be held together. And that's what he tried to get Rey to come along with him, to get rid of the past. And that's what Luke was doing too. He burned the Yoda actually burned the Jedi. Well, we find out the Jedi books weren't actually burned because Rey's still holding on to the past.
But the tree and all that, and this magical little place is burned. But in saying that, when you don't do that, follow this Han Solo-esque journey, you get BB-8 piloting a walker.
Yeah, okay.
Which is the stupidest looking thing I've seen in the Star Wars.
You have to remember.
I rolled my eyes so far back in my head, I could see my little brain. And it was
It
turning
is a
red.
little brain.
It was turning red.
You have
Nathan.
to remember, Star Wars is a kids is it's meant to be. It's
Oh,
here to
no,
make money.
It's not. It's not.
It's meant to be for kids. So when you have a little, I admit that scene was very like, oh, look at BB-8 saving the day, but BB-8 is meant to be a genius. It's a robot that can learn, so it's not out of possibility.
I don't care about BB-8.
What about the opening
though.
scene?
I don't care about
what about
the droid.
What about where BB-8 saves? He saves the initial battle because Poe's ship, the fuse goes down
he's
for his
plugging
attacker.
some holes in an X-wing.
Yeah,
He's
he
not
plugs holes and then he puts his
piloting
head into it.
He's not piloting. Okay, like a 4-man battle walker.
No,
That
one of the
should have
smaller
been
walkers is just a
DJ to show his skill and then come back. He took the money and then he came back because he's actually a good guy. And not everyone is just after the money in the world. And there's a little bit of humanity. And then you have DJ come back for episode 9, and then you see them
still
all
might.
bond.
You talk about episode 9 like none of these characters are going to come back.
I don't. Well,
He might come back. That might be the point.
But that's just childish. He should have done a double.
It is childish. That's
double,
the point.
Double cross. double cross.
You wanted to, so he crosses again.
He crosses again. He crosses the Empire, who originally.
It's not the Empire. It's the First
Finn
Order.
and Rose.
See, this is the thing. The Empire. You've got the originals so far in your head that you can't even escape them.
No,
You've
it's
just
the
proved
same
it.
concept, right? It's the
No,
same.
no, it's not. The First Order is different. So the First Order, they are built in the same model, but Snoke had a grander. Snoke was trying to build up the First Order separately. Like, I guess they were trying to recreate the Empire, but they weren't the Empire, and that was the idea. And that's I do admit that with Snoke's character, he should have been able to see Kylo's intention to cut the saber. But maybe that's the point, though, is that because Snoke's not a Jedi, but he's powerful with the Force, that he doesn't have the Foresight either. Well, you're rolling your eyes. So what?
Silly decisions made by silly people. That's all I'm saying.
So you hated the movie altogether?
I'm going to say what everyone else says about Star Wars films. They look good. They sound good. The cinematography's nice. But the heart and the decision-making wasn't there. It felt very scrambly. And some of the scenes still baffled me and annoyed me. And I just can't get past those the Holdo, the Snoke, Leia flying through space, and BB-8 crafting. Everything else was great.
All right.
Everything else was good.
But now let's try and find stuff we agree on, because now we've sort of disagreed a bit. The other thing you haven't even mentioned, you barely mentioned Rey and Luke, which are like the main, and Kylo.
I'm just getting out the anger first. I mean,
all right, we got out some anger. Let's see if we can find stuff to agree on.
2 weeks to do this.
I've written down some like favorite scenes.
Okay.
So I want to see if you agree with me on some of the stuff that was good about
right.
the movie.
Lay 'em on me.
Okay. Rey seeing herself in the cave with a scene where there's like the multiples over and like she clicks and does that.
I remember it.
And she explores the dark side. And then, because that's meant to be reminiscent of episode 5 where Luke sees himself in the Vader helmet.
Yes. Yep.
But then Rey looks at and it's like her parents. And like it's like the shadow coming up to the mirror, and then it gets revealed and it's just her.
Yes.
Which then ties into the scene later where when they've Rey and Kylo have they kill all the Imperial guards. Yeah. Snoke's guards, and then Kylo says, say it. You know who your parents are, say it. And she says they were nobodies. They sold her for alcohol. Yes. They basically were just, and I really like that because it shows that it's going over the theme of like, as I think someone online said, it was like the democratization of the Force, that it's not about the Jedi owning the Force, and even as Luke said, that's the hubris.
Anyone can have the Force.
And then
I like it that because in Star Wars, as we know from the last 6 films, not including Rogue One and Force Awakens, everyone's connected somehow to each other.
Yeah.
So I liked it that Rey was just a one in a billion person who was just in the right time at right place and had these Force powers.
Yep.
I didn't want her to be like another Skywalker.
No, that would have been
or another
awful.
Kenobi. It's just too coincidental. All these people started off from somewhere.
Yeah, and
not everyone had to be connected.
And
so I did like the cave scene. I wish there was a little bit more. It was a bit boring though. I don't know. It was a bit like the message was there, but I was like, cave.
So you're going back to negative, great. No. What I was trying to say though is that because that goes back into the final scene with a little kid and he uses the Force to grab the broom. No, but what that's saying though is
Here
that
we
like
go.
that anybody can use the Force. The Force is available to anybody because that's what Ryan's new trilogy is going to be about.
Yeah, about this little worm kid who's got the Force.
But that's what Luke was in the original movie. You would probably roll your eyes at the original. Think about you got to think about it like this, right? What
No
was
one
the
likes
first
kids in Star Wars films?
What was the first Star Wars movie you saw? Did you see a prequel first or the original?
Nope, it would have been originals. I think it was Empire Strikes Back when they land on Dagobah.
Well,
No,
you
not
just started
Dagobah.
watching the movie
No,
through the middle.
not Dagobah. It was late at night. It was like 9:30. It was past my bedtime.
Yeah, okay, right.
So the Millennium Falcon landed in the asteroid.
But you know
those weird flying
the Empire
things.
Strikes Back when it was released, the Star Wars fanboys said that George Lucas ruined it. Are you going to keep rolling your eyes through the whole podcast?
How so, Nathan? How so?
Because they didn't like the idea that Luke could be like persuaded by the dark side. They thought that was against his character, and then he redeemed him in Episode 6.
What does that have to do with this little brat holding a?
No.
mic at
I'm
the
just
end?
talking about the start. This whole movie in general. That in during the timeline of the originals in 1980, Star Wars nerds hated the second movie because they thought it wasn't true to the original. And this exact same thing is happening again. And then in 1983, it was all fine again because George Lucas, he had the overall trilogy.
Yeah, but good decisions were made in The Empire Strikes Back.
But you got to realize a lot of people did not like that movie when it came out.
All right, well,
there was
how about
backlash.
this? All right,
and now it's considered the best Star
Wars.
Wars.
No, listen to me. When The Last Jedi comes out, we should do a comparison.
The Last Jedi has come out.
On Blu-ray.
Oh, right.
On 4 and 5.
Yeah.
And 7 and
No, but
8.
you can't do that now because we've seen. We know, but the problem you can't do that because the problem is we've seen the 6th movie. This is like we're in that stage where the 3rd movie in the trilogy hasn't come out yet.
All right,
we're in that exact stage.
3 years, and we'll come back to this.
To 2019,
podcast,
yeah.
And we'll do a comparison.
The other thing I liked, the Snoke throne room fight scene. That was probably the best scene in the movie.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. Really well
Where she,
choreographed.
went through the head of the.
It was good to see other weapons being used, like the whip, the spears, 2 little daggers being used.
Yeah.
Bit of variety, which was nice.
Yeah, and people are asking online, like, was that the Knights of Ren? Because Kylo took a few of the other Jedi from Luke's temple, and apparently Snoke recruited them all. So is it like, are those the guys? And like, why are they faceless? Or are these the other Knights of Ren? Did Kylo end up killing them too?
See,
that's not really explained.
Laziness.
Yeah.
All we have to do, all Snoke would have to do is say, "You will not get past Kylo and the Knights of Ren," or something like that to Rey or whatever, and then just show them, with their weapons, and you're like, "Okay, these are the Knights of Ren." You know, but no. At the end of it, you're still wondering. You still have questions of what's going on. Nothing's told. So, do we have to wait until episode 9 to hear about these Knights of Ren, these other Sith Jedi?
Yeah, well, that's the part.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. I think the other I had the Yoda scene with the Jedi burning, which we've discussed.
Beautiful.
Did you like that Yoda was brought back in as an original? The original puppet, and like he sort of showed Luke that his even Luke's training is still not yet complete.
Yes.
That your weaknesses can still teach Rey. And your failures are still as valuable as your successes.
Awesome. Great scene. I had nothing wrong with Yoda. Yoda using lightning was a bit weird. Like, how powerful is this guy? But no, I loved Yoda being silly. It's a funny character.
Yeah.
And I don't think he needs to come off serious or anything. He's having fun. He's been dead for a long time.
That's right.
Been alive for even longer. He's just having fun, and he was good. Really, really nice to see Yoda again. Really a big surprise as well. I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were expecting Hayden Christensen to make an appearance as a Force
ghost.
And
even maybe Obi-Wan as well.
Yeah, but there was a few rumors going around, but
no, maybe next episode.
Yoda was the good choice.
The other part is. We'll talk on like the filmmaking perspective, right? So the storylines that were in the movie, there was obviously the A story, which was like the Kylo Ren, Rey training with Luke. Yeah. That's like the A story. Then the B story is like the piloting one, which is what a lot of people had problems with, which was about the big Snoke's giant ship. I've got the name of it. The Supremacy. Slow motion chasing. And I agree that was silly. The slow motion chasing through space.
I think the problem
when they're just out of the range.
with this film is that it seemed like the second time watching it, I was like, God, this film could have wrapped that up a lot quicker, and this film could have been easily 20 minutes shorter. There was a few scenes where I thought it could have cut off, either when when they first land on the planet.
Yeah.
I thought that would be
Wait, which planet?
the salt planet.
Oh, Crate. Yeah.
Crate.
Yeah.
Crate?
Crate. Crait.
I thought that would
Crate,
be
yeah.
a good place to cut it. And
Yeah.
then at the start of the next film, you have the big battle coming in.
Yeah.
Kind of like Empire Strikes Back. Or when they're making a decision to go to the planet.
Yeah.
Then you have the cutoff point again.
Yeah.
So I was like, God, this keeps going.
It did, you're right. And I noticed that the second time that it had like 3 climaxes.
It should have.
The Snoke, I
ended.
think the Snoke Ray scene could have been the climax of the movie. And then the
That's what I
crate,
was gonna say.
the crate scene.
Yep.
So we're finally agreeing. So the crate scene, leave
Yep.
that for episode 9.
Yep, agreed.
And that's like the Resistance's
100%.
last resort in crate.
That should have been the
Yeah.
first like half of episode 9.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they break the lightsaber or something,
Yeah.
or when he puts the hand out to join me,
Yeah. Join me. Yeah.
that should have been the cliffhanger
Yeah,
for
yeah.
episode 8, and
Yeah.
then it cuts,
yeah.
and then you've got that time for Rey to escape, and then possibly Kylo to escape,
Yeah.
and then Snoke comes back, and then they make it to the next planet, and then they have the fight scene.
Yeah. I agree.
It's all
It's too
squished
much.
in,
Yeah. Yeah.
and by the end of it,
What-
you're like, God.
I'm trying to. Yeah. I want to get a
I love it when we agree.
I
Sometimes.
want to edit it. I'd love
Fires
to
me
edit
up.
the movie with the whole casino sequence was junk. Let me rant quickly here on something
for
I
it.
really did
Go
not
for
like
it.
about the film.
Lay it on me.
Cut Canto Bight. The whole idea of that was dumb, and I get the idea of showing because a lot of people did want to know, especially with the original movie, about like the money aspect of Star Wars, because money exists in Star Wars. Because Han Solo's whole thing is he's only doing it for the
Credits,
pay.
mate. Credits.
Yeah, he's doing it for the pay. And then people are like, oh, how much would the Death Star have cost? Everyone's always interested in the economics of Star Wars, and it's always been ignored by like the canon, It's never really talked about. So they try and talk about how these guys all have their wealth, all the people on the casino planet, for selling weapons to the First Order. And then there's a scene where DJ shows that, they also sold an X-Wing, so they sell to the good guys too.
Yeah.
But the whole
Wrong
politics
movie.
should stay out of Star Wars. The whole thing about the animal rescue
Wrong movie.
was junk.
Yeah,
it was junk.
yeah.
And I would,
Absolutely.
and the
disgusting.
sad thing too is, because I've noticed, there's like the sort of the conservative liberal divide in politics, where it's like
yeah.
the right wing, left wing. I'd probably be like more of a left wing, like, voting for, if I was in America. No, I'm just saying though. If I was in America, I'd probably vote Democrat, like Obama. I thought he had like great policies. And this movie would be like very liberal, and Hollywood's always known to be liberal as well. But leave it out of a Star Wars movie. Don't put animal rights shit into a Star Wars movie.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
'Cause
And I agree with it, but I don't want to see it in Star Wars. Star Wars is meant to be escape. You're meant to escape from that.
Escape
and then
from
you have to think
the
about it
shitty
again.
planet that we live in.
Yes.
And I think that kind of stuff with the economy and the money and all that,
Yes.
maybe leave it. I had a thought in my mind while you were describing it. Leave it out of the original saga and just keep it magical with the characters that we love. Maybe if you want to show things like people who are selling, leave it for the Han Solo film, where it's all about smuggling, it's all about money, it's all about dodgy stuff, and that's right before the stuff of the Empire.
Yeah.
And episode 4.
Exactly.
It's the perfect time to show people selling starships, and you can have a story revolving around selling items to the Empire or the good guys.
Yeah.
That's literally the perfect part to put it in. When you incorporate these real life things, especially with social media, where we're so constantly reminded of the failures of mankind, when you see it in a film, you're like, oh, they really put a little stop horse racing message in Star Wars. I don't want
that's
that.
true. Yeah, you don't need
I
that.
see that on Channel 7. I don't want that in a Star Wars film.
Channel 7.
Speaking of horses, let's talk about Rose. Now, Rose,
What is that supposed
another
to mean?
character that absolutely destroyed me. So her acting, I noticed on
Callie Marie
second
Tran,
viewing,
yeah.
it was really robotic, like this. You okay, Finn? She spoke. Her acting was terrible. But
A lot of people are praising her role. So
What? Who?
lots of like the main consensus though is that she did a great job, but her character was wasted.
Okay, if you're a fan and you like Rose,
I think maybe you're just
comment
sexist
down
and
below,
racist.
Comment down below and just let's get a toll coming up.
Toll? Poll.
Let's get a yes for Rose or a no for Rose in the comments. We'll count them up by the end of the year.
So
next year, and see who wins. So Rose. Okay, let's go back to Blue Balls. So we have, and let's go back to Phasma as well. So we have Finn.
You're all over this movie. This movie has broken you.
Let's have Finn. This pod is exactly like the movie. Okay, it's just it's broken. So let's have Finn destroy Phasma. Phasma's been defeated. His arc is complete.
Yeah,
it's gone from him leaving and becoming a traitor
to the First Order.
Phasma was only there to give Finn something to do. She's dead. She says her final words. Into the fire she goes. Finn's done.
Yeah.
Finn, being ex-First Order, there's a lot of regrets, a lot of sadness, and he really, he comes off like he just wants to make himself not a hero, but he wants to be good and do something and help to make up for what he's done.
More. He wants purpose.
So we have Finn flying into the battering ram cannon.
Yeah.
It's very emotional. It's quiet. He's sweating. And I thought that Finn was good. That was it. He was going to go. And I was like, it's sad, but I'm actually ready for him to go because he's done everything.
Yeah.
He has nothing else to do. And I thought, it would be really good if it kind of twisted because we have all these characters, all the older ones, that are having their friends die, like Carrie Fisher, Han Solo, Luke, Han Solo. So I was like, imagine if Rey came back and she'd be like, where's Finn? Then it's flipped on Rey now. But then we have Rose come in out of nowhere, where we've seen Rose and the others flying the opposite direction at the same speed. Mathematically, I'm no professor. I'm no professor. But God, no, mathematically, she could not have gone around, turned around, and lined herself up to hit him.
No, because they're all going at full speed on those things.
Complete disgusting blue balls. And then she talks about love, and it's like protecting the ones that we love. It's like your sister was a bomber. All right, she killed millions.
All right, that's true.
I'm sorry, but if you wanted to protect her, you would have gone, sister. Don't be a bomber pilot.
But that's
Fix the pipe with me. Or how about let's not join the resistance. Let's work on Canto Bight becoming waitresses. I was just like, oh my God, Rose, what are you doing? And I thought she died.
Oh, you thought like her?
I don't know if she's dead, but I was like, I hope she's dead.
No, then he pulled her back. And said she's hurt. Well, she's going to have the same thing that he had at the end of the movie where it's like recovering.
Well, let's hope she never wakes up.
Oh, God.
So Rose, Phasma, Snoke, Holdo, Hanto, whatever her name is.
Admiral Akbar. All these great characters. Most of the rebellion. Most of the resistance died.
Out.
So many of them.
Gone.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. So... I know. You're actually... No, this is... I thought I was going to convince you that it's a better movie. You're actually convincing me that it's a worse movie.
Oh, yeah.
I want to know something as well. Kylo Ren, when he was flying in...
Yes.
They were like, shields are down or whatever, and then he's flying in with the 2 TIE fighters, and he goes to shoot. He senses Leia, and they look at each other.
Great scene.
And then he doesn't fire, but the other 2 fire.
Yeah.
So he knows she's going to die, but he's not going to be the cause of it. He's like, I'm not, he does that look where he's like, I've killed my father. I'm not going to kill my mother, but I'm not going to stop it.
Maybe that's how it was portrayed.
And then she blows out the window. But when does he ever know that she gets back to life? Did he ever know? Or does he go through the movie thinking his mother's dead?
I think, no, because he...
Did he sense her again or something?
There's a scene where he sees Snoke afterwards, and he's like, I did everything you wanted or something. Like, I've killed everyone.
Yeah.
So you must still think Leia's alive. But it doesn't matter because... Leia, the character, the actress Carrie Fisher is dead. So they can't have
and they said she's not coming back. Yeah.
So they should have just killed her off.
Yeah.
In the big hyper.
But what I mean though, that changes a lot though if Kylo goes to the end of the movie thinking, because he has that big power struggle at the end with Hux, where Hux refers to him as supreme leader, but he kind of does it a little bit sarcastically.
Yeah.
And then Hux,
they don't like each other.
Yeah, and then he actually he doesn't force choke Hux, but he force pushes Hux against the wall
Yeah.
to silence him, and gives him all of the bombings for the Luke. We haven't even talked about the Luke ghost. Did you like that when Luke comes to distract them as a ghost? As like not a ghost, but like a projection.
See, it's another blue balls moment. It should have been
when
the
you
final
just
battle.
clarify, because I don't know if that phrase carries across all demographics. What does blue balls mean? I thought blue balls means is when you're not getting sex. What's that? Are you just talking about teasing? Like it's
it
not giving
teases
you satisfaction.
Your balls get sore, and you're like, oh, damn it, they're sore. I really wish it just would have happened the way I wanted it.
So you're basically talking about it's like a letdown. It's not.
It's a letdown.
It's
a tease.
It's a tease. All right.
All right, now listen to me.
Okay.
So,
Sorry.
the Han battle,
Yeah.
Luke battle at the end. I thought it was again. It's one of those final battle moments, but they should have had him with the green lightsaber. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah.
because
I know,
it
something
was
to
too
conclude,
obvious.
Yeah.
And why did he have the blue lightsaber?
Well, he just projected it. Like projected that he had it.
Green.
Yeah, but he didn't actually use the saber. It's just
obvious.
Yeah, but it's yeah. I know. Yeah, true. But I didn't pick that. I didn't pick up on that the first time. Did you?
Yes, I was like, hang on.
He's got the saber back. Yeah.
He doesn't.
Yeah. See, I didn't pick up on that.
Don't have it. That's weird. He should just have the green lightsaber because he's projecting himself as his old master, not 20-year-old Luke on Bespin. Do you see now? Do you see the mistakes in this film?
I saw watching it the second time. Sort of highlighted the mistakes to me.
Yes.
But then again, it does have some of the best moments of Star Wars. I think, like that scene with the Snoke fighting the guard scene, like finally seeing like
Awesome
Rey and
stuff.
Kylo team up. I think the kamikaze thing, despite who did it, that sequence of the visuals of it and the silence,
Yes.
and it going like cutting
Really
through the
cool.
ships.
Really cool.
I do think there's the crater's a planet, and that sequence of the planes going and slicing the salt, because people are like, oh, another snow planet, but it's actually salt, and there's like the red on the white, and the AT walkers. I know they're not the AT whatever the new model is.
Yeah.
That sequence.
Like-
Even the porgs and the frost dogs, the crystal critters as they call them,
Look,
or the Vapox or whatever they were actually
thankfully,
called.
the porgs weren't as annoying as I thought they'd be. There was a few
Yeah.
shots on the Skellig. Is it Skellig?
The island. Yeah.
There was a few scenes where it's an establishing shot of Luke and Rey.
Yeah.
But you can hear in the background the
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Well,
shut up. We know there's porgs.
Apparently they were forced to make porgs because there's puffins on the island. Puffins like those little penguins, and apparently they just superimposed porgs over them because they couldn't film the island without
That's
the
funny.
birds on it.
Yeah.
And
That's
Mark
great.
Hamill mentioned that in an interview where puffins are, like on the island, and he's like, well, so they just superimposed
That's
porgs
funny.
over it.
I thought the porgs were okay. I thought they were made a little bit too
Yeah.
cutesy, and it's like,
Yeah. Well, you know how we like look at the box
The-
office. I wonder what the box office of porg sales is. Like how many millions those are.
millions,
Yeah.
mate. Porgs, ashtrays,
Porg
porgs
ashtrays,
underwear,
porg underwear.
porgs diapers.
Oh wow, porg's
pictures of
fleshlights.
porg cups.
What about the scene with
Porg,
Chewbacca going to eat a
porg.
porg and then the porgs were staring at him?
Oh,
Is that
just
too
eat
cutesy?
it.
Too cutesy?
Just eat it, for God's sake. I did laugh though. One of probably my favorite favorite funny moment in the film is when he's I think Luke's someone's going into the Falcon.
You're talking about the milk? Wow, I think I just broke Sean. He's just
We'll get to
paused.
that. I just forgot a whole bunch, and I'm
Yeah.
remembering it.
Yeah,
So I think Luke's going to the Falcon, and there's porgs like making nests.
yeah. Yes, yeah.
And then like eating the cables.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny that
Yeah,
they've
yeah.
just made a nest inside the Falcon.
Yeah, they've like
Um,
inhabited
Speaking
it.
of Chewie though, he was pretty.
He was the hero of the
pretty
movie.
Really?
He flew. He flew the
Oh,
Falcon
yeah,
through
but
crates and like
He didn't
diverted
do
all
anything
the.
this whole film. He just ate food.
Well,
from
that's what they were
bloody-
saying. But he was like, there's that meme of like, your dad, Chewbacca's a real dad because he like drove Rey everywhere and and didn't ask for anything in return.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the plot
It was
twist.
like, her parents, yeah, but Chewbacca
Rey's
like helps her
actually
everywhere.
Chewbacca's
he-
actually the father.
He flew
of
her
Rey.
into Snoke's ship and she went off on her little little dock ship, the
Mm.
little thing that flew, and then he just light speeded off again, within a split
Why
second.
didn't he get shot down?
Chewbacca.
Wow.
No, because he did it so quickly. He did it within like a split
Oh,
second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So unfunny scene number 1. So we're 5 minutes into the film, and Poe makes a mum joke, and another slapstick, funny, charming Poe moment where he's putting Hux on hold. He's like, "Oh, I'm holding for Hux."
Yeah.
And Hux is doing twice. He does this giant spill about his position and
And their war crimes and
resistances,
everything. Yeah.
whatnot and everything. And the first time I laughed because it was good timing.
Yeah.
It was unexpected. But the next 3 times, I was like, this movie goes for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up.
And Poe made a your mother joke.
Which is disgusting. I was like, oh, come
And what about
on.
as well, the use of humor is another thing in this movie where they talk about that it was done at the inappropriate times with like Rey. Well, you know when like Luke's telling her about, the Jedi and stuff, and she's like, you should come back. I've seen your schedule. You're not busy. She says like she makes a joke. It's like it's a joke moment in the serious.
Not busy.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, he is busy, okay? He's squeezing titties and he's getting fish, right? The man is busy. You're the one that came to him.
I thought of a plot hole with that fish. You know how he swings over to the pole to get the fish and he pokes down on it? How does he get the fish up from when it's down there? Does he force swing it up?
Snoke did it. Snoke did it. Snoke telepathic their mind. Now.
Yep.
One final little thing. Let's make a drinking game where every time a funny moment happens and it goes quiet and Rose and Finn look at each other like, take a drink. Because that happened like 3 times in the film.
So you get 3 drinks.
Nathan.
Yes.
What would you give Star Wars The Last Jedi out of 10?
I don't know, because I said it would be like the best Star Wars, and now I don't know if it is.
Well, you're wrong about that, weren't you? See, another annoying scene that I saw was I think, well, this isn't actually a scene. This is how I wanted the film to be created.
Okay.
So Kathleen Kennedy, listen up. I think Kylo should have left with Rey.
Yep.
Right? To bring it all down and to just to restart. And then Snoke and Hux. Well, Snoke comes back and him and Hux team up.
Yeah.
And then maybe Hux learns the ways of the dark side. And he starts to learn. And he wants to be a bit more like Kylo and be respected by Snoke. Which we can see because they keep having competitions with each other to impress their master. So then you have Kylo and Ren go off. And then Hux and Snoke
that can still happen
to get revenge on Kylo Ren. No, it can't happen. There's only one film left.
Yeah, but Hux can still fight against Kylo.
Yeah, but if you give Hux some meaning, he becomes a bit more of a less boring character.
I'll give the movie. I'll say 3 stars. So 3 out of 5, which is
okay. So it was visually appealing.
Double that. So like
some
60.
Cool scenes.
Yeah, 60%. 6 out of 10. Yeah.
Okay. I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I can't rate it lower than you did. I'll say 7 out of 10 then.
Why not?
3.5 stars.
Why can't you rate it?
Because you're so vocally against it, and I did enjoy it. But there were things like cut out the whole casino scene, tighten it up, cut out the crate, leave that for episode 9.
Cut out.
It just didn't really leave on a cliffhanger. Like they're flying off to go to the Outer Rim, but we don't even know anything about the Outer Rim. That's what episode 9. I think episode 9 will reverse the original trilogy in that episode 4 and 5 were 3 years apart, and then 5 and 6 ran straight after the other. And this has been 7 and 8. 8 has happened straight after 7. Yeah. So I think episode 9 will be 3 years later.
Oh yeah, Leia's dead.
Yeah, Leia's died. Kylo and the First Order is sort of like restructured without Snoke.
Yeah. Kylo's now the big
Poe will be the general now, or Poe will have taken 3 years to rise.
Yeah, he'll be like the vice admiral or something.
Rey and Kylo will have separated for the 3 years. I don't know how they'll have to find a way. Yeah, Finn and
Rose will hopefully be dead. C-3PO will do nothing. R2-D2 will do absolutely nothing.
Well, R2-D2 almost, and that's what annoyed me. R2-D2 should have convinced Luke to go back. Because he showed Luke the thing. He showed Luke Leia and all that, and then Luke was just like, I'm still not into it.
Like, oh, that's a cheap move. And then he comes back, but he doesn't. It's
I know.
See? This should have been stuff for the final film.
The other last thing, box office. I think today it'll cross 1 billion today overall worldwide.
It's up to 800 million.
No, I checked this morning and it was 940 million. So after this weekend, although it is New Year's, so people are busy, but it'll definitely cross 1 billion this weekend.
After this summer, it'll be...
We're recording this on 31st of December.
Well into the 1.4, 1.5 after this summer. So give it about 2 months and it'll be... But then it's gone down, 63%, I believe?
It dropped pretty high, 67% on the first weekend. Yeah,
huge.
Yeah, that was a big drop-off.
Disgusting drop.
But it may come back because it'll be released in China next week. Which, well, Coco did surprisingly well, the Pixar movie. So we'll never know.
It's Pixar though.
Anything else, Sean? Do you feel satisfied that we've discussed Star Wars?
I'm glad. I think
This podcast was a bit of a mess, but again, that's what
So was
the
the
movie.
movie.
So was a movie.
So was me.
Last
Shout
words.
to my boys, Red Letter Media. I listened to their review, and their reviews are a little bit like ours. It's just a discussion because it's hard to put a formula to the Last Jedi. You've just kind of you just got to get your frustrations out, and that's it. And then just let it rest. 2018 is upon us,
and we'll have a good time.
Thank you
for
listening.
The last message on Star Wars is, it has some of the best and some of the worst of Star Wars in it.
Agreed. Yeah.
And that's Star
Rose
Wars.
Rose should have died.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Bye just for now. Rose should have died.
Why Should I Watch is a Skinny White Boy production. For more information, visit www.skinnywhiteboy.com.